Hi, and thank you for joining Velazquez Press at CABE 2017. We are joined today with Evelyn Gonzalez. How are you, Evelyn?
Great. I'm excited to be here.
Excited to have you. International award-winning author for Latino Literacy. What can you tell us about your new book, The 16th Rule?
Okay. Well, it's actually the 16 rule, but it's a story about a girl who's 15 and she can't date until she's 16. And if you can remember being that age, having to wait a whole year is a really hard thing to do. And so she meets a boy and they like each other, but she's not allowed to date. So she has to figure out ways to be creative, to still be able to keep her relationship with him, and also still survive at home with her parents, who are Latinos and they're very strict. And she has to follow their beliefs. And she's a good girl ultimately. She wants to do the right thing, but she's really struggling, and she's in a cultural tug of war.
Can I ask, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, my son, when he went to middle school, he would come home with stories about his friends who were dating, and I said, but they're 12 years old. And so it just brought me back to the time when I was in high school, and I remember what that felt like. And so I wrote this book based on some memories that I have of my own experiences, and then some not, because it is a fictional book. But I think that I wanted my readers to know that I understood how they feel, because it is an emotional book, but it's also fun, and it has a message. It has a message for parents, and it has a message for teenagers.
Now I understand you've been a teacher for 28 years. Did you have your students in mind when you were writing the story?
I had more of my children in mind. I'm an elementary school teacher. I've been teaching third grade for over 20 years. And I wanted to venture out into something a little bit more challenging. And it was so important for me to get the voice of a teenager. So luckily I lived in a neighborhood with a lot of teenage girls, and they were able to help me by reading the chapters as they were literally coming out of the printer. Yeah, it was fun.
That sounds really exciting. I want to go back to your experience as a teacher. What did you enjoy most of being a teacher?
Well, I really love influencing the kids. Right now, the students that I work with are 8 and 9 years old, and they need a grandma, or they need sometimes a third parent. Parents are working so hard, carrying 2 jobs or 3 jobs. You have mom and dad both working in the house. So the hardest part for me is probably the funnest part for me, and that's the part where I get to step in and give them my opinion and my advice, and really just kind of try to mold them to be good citizens. So that's my favorite part, other than the math and the reading and all the other good stuff.
And what is your favorite part about CABE?
Oh, the energy here at CABE is exciting. So many people all working towards the same cause, which is bilingual education, dual immersion, which I think is so important. When I first started teaching, bilingual education was on its way out. So I'm excited that it's on its way back in. And I think it's so important for parents to, especially those who speak Spanish, to continue to speak Spanish and teach their children how to read and write in Spanish. Unfortunately, the children over time, they lose their Spanish. I have a boy in my classroom right now who came from Mexico about a year ago. He didn't know any English at all. And he's been here for about a year, and he tells me now that he's forgotten his Spanish. So that makes me very sad, and I tell him, don't forget your Spanish. Keep reading, keep writing, and what happens too is the kids start speaking English to their parents, and their parents speak Spanish to them, and that's the way they go. And so I really highly recommend for parents to continue to speak Spanish. And that's why I had my book translated in Spanish, because I wanted kids in middle school and high school to be able to read in Spanish if that's their primary language.
It was such an honor to meet you, Evelyn. Thank you so much for meeting with Velazquez Press at CABE 2017.
Thank you very much. It was fun.
Thank you.